My dad's company suddenly collapsed. And overnight, I went from being a spoiled rich girl to a down and minus out young lady. The only lifeline left for me was to marry the Beijing socialite prince. A man I'd treated like dirt 6 years ago who'd ultimately abandoned me after playing with my heart. Right now, Zhang Zihin is standing in my living room. His presence so overwhelming it almost takes your breath away. His demeanor no longer carries that cold, aloof detachment he had 6 years ago instead. It's as sharp and ruthless as a keen blade. My dad, bowing low, pours him tea. Mr. Zhang, it's such an honor you could make it all the way here long minus time admiration. Zhang Zihin's gaze slides past my dad and lands straight on me. The sheer hatred in his eyes sends a chill down my spine. Oh no, I should have known better than to play so hard back then. Who could have imagined that the pathetic stray dog who used to grovel at my feet just a few years ago would rise again, and turn right back into the Beijing prince. Just as I try to avoid his stare, a flurry of notes suddenly flashes before my eyes. Don't be fooled by Zhang Zihin's icy, aloof face that gets wild as hell at night. And little sister won't stand a chance. Poor little sister. She can't even eat. And Zhang Zihin still pins her down and beats her anyway. Hey, don't just keep touching each other. Have you forgotten what happened in the original story? Little sister was literally beaten to death by this psycho, and his creep-ass brother even watched the ashes. What? He played me to death in bed? This dog Calden even let me die with some dignity. Replying, what are these barrage minus-like comments anyway? They're just like those melodramatic plot twists from the trashy novels I used to read. Before I could even think further, my dad had already pulled me up to stand in front of Zhang Zihin. This is my daughter. Song Zihiz. Zihiz. Say hello to everyone. Mr. Zhang, I forced myself to speak, my voice barely audible, like a mosquito's buzz. Zhang Zihin raises an eyebrow, a hint of amusement curling at the corner of his lips. Miss Song's scared of me. I've never seen Miss Song Zihin so afraid, but on the surface, you'll pretend not to notice. Mr. Zhang's joking. What's there to be scared of? Zhang Zihin chuckles softly, leaning close to my ear. Master, I've missed you so much these past few years. His voice is so low, it seems to grind out word by word between his teeth. Little sister, you're done for. HE's been thinking about you every single day for the past 6 years how you died. Actually, HE's probably been thinking about how to kill you off completely. Help. I'm starting to look forward to our wedding night. He didn't come here to claim me as his master. He came here to claim your corpse. Zhang Zihin seems pleased with my reaction. He casually tosses the prenuptial agreement onto the tea table and turns around. I'll pick you up next Monday. I flip through the prenup, which runs over 100 pages long, and a million thoughts race through my head. After marriage, Song Zihin isn't allowed to file for divorce under any circumstances. After marriage, Song Zihin must unconditionally obey all of Zhang Zihin's demands, including, but not limited to, attending all kinds of social events and fulfilling marital duties. If Song Zihin breaks any of these rules, she'll have to compensate the Zhang group for all losses incurred. Holy crap, this isn't a prenup, it's more like a lifetime indenture plus version. Zhang Zihin really wants to weld little sister to himself for life. Unconditionally comply with marital duties highlighted. It's practically a college entrance exam question. Even a contract of servitude would be kinder than this. At least a servitude contract has a time limit. This one doesn't even have a deadline. After I finally signed it, I still felt sick. Compared to those creepy old men my dad wanted me to marry, getting played to death by a hot guy is actually better. One who would have thought that just months ago I was still living it up. And now I'm about to get married. I stare at my pale face in the mirror, feeling less like a bride and more like a prisoner heading to the execution ground. Little sister's expression is killing me. Anyone who didn't know would think I was going to my own funeral. When just months ago I was hugging male models. And now I'm being forced into marriage. This is karma. Too soon I'll get to meet Zhang Zihan as Moonlight. Can't wait to see what she looks like. To Zhang Zihan as Moonlight. I think I've heard he's been searching for a woman for 9 years, and only found her a few years ago. Not only did he send that woman abroad to study, but he flew over to see her every single week without fail, staying 3 whole days before returning. At first, I didn't believe it. Turns out it's true. This dog with the beauty in his arms still comes after me. Just then, the host pushes open the door. "Miss Song, you may enter." I stand up, adjust my outfit, and take my dad's arm as we walk toward the banquet hall. The ballroom is packed with people, all the bigwigs from Beijing, but on Zhang Zihan's side, the VIP seats are empty. 3 rows of chairs sit vacant like tombstones. Back when the Zhang family fell, his father jumped from the top floor of the company building, and his mother followed suit after hearing the news. His grandparents couldn't bear the shock and passed away a few months later too. Zhang Zihan's red carpet reception draws a crowd. The Zhang family Escalado branches wanted to come, but Zhang Zihan flat minus out refused them entry. Serves them right. When the Zhang family fell, those relatives ran faster than anyone else. Now that Zhang Zihan has risen again, they're licking their lips and trying to crawl back in. Just as I lift my gaze, I lock eyes with Zhang Zihan. He's standing at the end of the red carpet, staring at me intently, like a venomous snake coiling around its prey, tightening its grip inch by inch. That stare leaves me with no room to even glance toward the crowd, let alone find where his Moonlight is standing. As I step closer, just as I place my hand in his palm, he grips it tightly. "Nervous," I reply. "Not really." Zhang Zihan's expressions often slightly, a faint smile spreading across his lips. I feel dazed for a moment. How can he smile so gently? Does he not hate me as much as I thought? But then, in the next second, he leans close to my ear and whispers, "Lou, as his hands also been invited, Miss Saul. You'll have to reward me well tonight." Oh my God, is Zhang Zihan McDonald's or something? Why did he invite the mistress along? HES, the wholesale supplier of moonlights. Just buy your own moonlight if you want. But HES invited little sister's moonlight too. My scalp instantly goes numb, and I instinctively want to turn around and look for her, but Zhang Zihan's hand holds mine tight. "Don't rush. Master will have plenty of time to check her out later. By the way, help me check out your kiss too." What's his expression right now? Could it be that HES feeling just as desperate as I did back then, wishing he could just die? The story starts 6 years ago. Back then, Zhang Zihan was the idol everyone in Beijing's social circle looked up to. He came from a prominent family, excelled academically, and was so handsome that even the wealthiest terraces in the city would circle around him twice. And I was one of the most persistent pursuers. At first he wouldn't even glance at me, but eventually he did give me a look so indifferent it felt like snow melting in your hand. Seizing the moment, I asked him, "Zhang Zihan, what kind of girl do you actually like?" "I don't like girls like you." I was furious at the time. I've always been obsessed with looks, especially those of someone as unattainable as him, the kind of beauty that seems out of reach. The more he ignored me, the more I wanted to bring him down from his pedestal. But after pursuing him for years, he didn't budge an inch. Just when I was about to give up, something terrible happened to the Zhang family. Overnight, everything fell apart. The man who once stood atop the world suddenly plunged into the mud. When I saw him in the hospital, he was standing outside the ward, staring at the payment receipt. At that moment, instead of feeling pity, I felt a sick, twisted sort of satisfaction, almost like revenge. I used my black card to lift his arrogant face. "Come on," I said. "You'll pay for everything." The light outside the ward was cold, and when he looked at me, his eyes were dark and heavy, like a pool of stagnant water. That week he hadn't taken any calls, but then he started taking them again. His grandmother was seriously ill, really, really sick. The next day, I brought Zhang Ziyin back to my apartment. I sized him up from head to toe. Even though Had fallen into ruin, his face still had that same elegance. His posture was still straight, his legs long and lean, and even his shirt cowled and hide his perfect physique. When Zhang Ziyin knelt before me, I sat cross-legged, using the tip of my shoe to gently press against his chin, tilting his face upward. Zhang Ziyin. Do you know what it means to be supported by me? Zhang Ziyin didn't say a word. His eyes stared at me blankly, exactly like the aloof, condescending look Had given me when it first pursued him. I hated it. I kicked him hard with the tip of my shoe. He stayed frozen. His face twisted sideways, his voice hoarse and barely audible. I know. I smiled triumphantly, pulled out a specially made collar from my drawer, and fastened it around his neck. Zhang Ziyin's Adam's apple bulbed slightly, and he didn't dare meet my gaze. I hooked my finger around the clasp and pulled him closer. Now what should I call you? Zhang Ziyin's lips moved, but he didn't speak. Impatiently, I stood up. Zhang Ziyin, everything you're wearing and using now is all provided by me. I told you to call me master. Can't you understand simple instructions? Zhang Ziyin's eyelashes fluttered briefly, then he lowered his head, resting his forehead on my knee. His voice was muffled, tinged with a slight tremor. Master. I don't know why, but when he said that word, my heart skipped a beat. I rewarded him with a kiss on the corner of his mouth. That night, I kept Zhang Ziyin occupied for a long time. At first, he was pretty bad at following instructions. And because he was moving too fast, I even slapped him once. Zhang Ziyin turned his head sharply, his face turning red, and he didn't say a word. He just kept his head down and did as he was told. At that moment, I just felt this incredible sense of power. Finally being able to bully the once arrogant Zhang Ziyin. As for whether Had hold a grudge or take revenge later on, I honestly hadn't thought about it at all. Who would have guessed Had make a comeback? Yet for a while, things went smoothly. Every day when I got home, Zhang Ziyin would pretend to cook for me, tidy up my room, and even invite me to bed at night. He was so obedient, doing whatever I asked without complaint. When I was in a good mood, I'd reward him with sweets. When I was in a bad mood, I'd take out my frustration on him, scolding him harshly. He'd take it all without saying a word, even adding extra slaps if I seemed to be hurting his shoulder or arm. Zhang Ziyin's grandmother's condition kept getting worse, and I helped pay for a lot of medical expenses. But I never really thought much about it. I figured as long as there was money, her illness would get better. But people aren't just cured by money alone. 3 months later, his grandmother passed away. Zhang Ziyin stopped going to the hospital altogether. He just sat motionless on the bench outside, staring straight ahead. I stood beside him, half-heartedly calling out Zhang Ziyin. He didn't respond. I leaned down to check on him and noticed his eyes were bloodshot, covered in tiny cuts. Zhang Ziyin looked up at me for a moment, then burst into tears and threw himself into my arms. I was stunned. It was the first time Had ever shown any real emotion in front of me. I patted his back gently, saying, "It's okay, it's over. I'm here." Zhang Ziyin cried for a long time, sobbing uncontrollably. That night, I didn't push him anymore and let him sleep peacefully. The next morning, I noticed something strange. Zhang Ziyin's gaze had become exactly the same as mine. Was it longing? Or anger? But at the time, I didn't think much about it, just assumed that since his grandmother was gone, there was no reason to keep him around, so I suggested we end our relationship. Surprisingly, Zhang Ziyin begged me not to leave him, saying he couldn't live without me. I thought, wow, this is actually happening. From then on, our relationship shifted from one of support to a normal boyfriend-girlfriend dynamic. A month later, my childhood friend Shi Chen returned from abroad. For the sake of the white moonlight in my heart, I broke up with Zhang Ziyan. My stomach tightened, and I replied softly. Daydreaming isn't good. Song Xiaqui. I didn't leave. I whispered quietly. My voice so faint even I hardly believed it myself. Zhang Ziyan chuckled, pulling me closer to him. Just then, the side door of the banquet hall suddenly swung open, and a woman who looked like a painting walked in. She headed straight for the first row of seats reserved for the Zhang family and locked eyes with Zhang Ziyan. Hushed whispers rippled through the hall. Who is she? How come she's sitting right next to the groom? Isn't the Zhang family supposed to be empty now? I heard the boss has been dating a woman overseas these past few years. Is this kind of low-minus class canary really allowed to sit so close to the groom? Keep your voice down. The boss cherishes her so much. Isn't this a slap in the face to the Song family? They haven't even finished the wedding yet, and they've already brought in some outside mistress. So what if she's here? Aren't they living off the Zhang family anyway? What's wrong with that? My gaze instinctively darted toward the other side of the audience. A USD heap. Piercing gaze was fixed on me as that regret in his eyes. How funny. Back when Maybao was with him, he was crying every night in clubs and even slept with Xiaobao. Now he finally knows how to cherish someone. That's the exact same look. Maybao and Shichen are rekindling their old romance. Got it. No way. Maybao was snatched back from Italy by Zhang Ziyan because she eloped with her childhood sweetheart and ran off with him. What a jerk, that old dog Zhang. Seriously, Xi Yuguang is just so stunning. Glowing under the moonlight. She really is breathtakingly beautiful. Being with Zhang Ziyan must be amazing. I watched CPO's fingers play the guitar, and for some reason my heart felt strangely unsettled. Just then, C piped up. The new post can finally kiss the bride. At first I got a little nervous, but then I realized Zhang Ziyan would definitely skip this whole thing. After all, Xi Yuguang was right there below him. HED never dared to do it in front of her. But the next second, Zhang Ziyan's kiss came down like an irresistible force, crushing me completely. His kiss was intense and deep, as if he were trying to make up for all those years of pent-up longing in one single kiss. Wow, he really did kiss her. Xi Yuguang was still sitting there, dazed and stunned. Zhang Ziyan hasn't closed the door yet. Quick, come watch him go wild. Maybao muttered under her breath, glaring darkly at her childhood sweetheart. That's what happens when you mess with someone's family. Her Lucy Chen switched to green emojis. Seriously? Oh my god. This is so hot. I'm dying. And done for the night. I've been waiting in the chicken coop for Zhang Ziyan, practically losing my mind. But he still has to come back. My best friend sent me a message saying that Zhang Ziyan, that dog, has been holed up with Xi Yuguang ever since they got home, and HE is not planning on leaving anytime soon. HES skipping the wedding night and running off to chase after Xi Yuguang? Isn't that sending you a clear message? Not only am I not mad, I'm actually kind of relieved. This little warning is exactly what I've been hoping for. I've been waiting all night for this sweet spicy moment. Don't worry. He'll be back sometime in the middle of the night, she said. Really? Don't lie to me. Seriously. And when he does come back, he'll take Maybao straight out of her dream. What the heck is going on with from the dream? I reached for my phone, ready to text Zhang Ziyan, but suddenly remembered that 6 years ago, HED already ghosted me. I tapped add a friend, but there was even a verification prompt. His request went through instantly. Did Zhang Ziyan just ignore me altogether? Are you at Mrs. Us place? It's fine. No need to come back, I don't mind. Once I finish posting, I'll send you a picture. That club you went to last time, it's called Ha, right? Go check it out. Half an hour later, I found myself at the most exclusive club in Beijing. Sue had already booked a private room for me and ordered 8 different kinds of male models. 2 of them were so tall and broad, shouldered. Over 1.8 meters tall, with narrow waists and wide chests. But compared to Zhang Ziyan, they still fell short. I was totally lost in the softness of these men, unable to pull myself away until I checked out every single one of them. Then I glanced at the clock. It was already past midnight, and I was exhausted. I patted Miss' shoulder and said, "I'm heading out now." She looked confused and said, "You're leaving already? The nightlife is just getting started." The man in my arms also tried to persuade me to stay longer. Inside the club, no one wanted me to leave, not even the male model who'd just heard about the incident and shut his mouth tight. Probably because he'd heard too many stories about clients being beaten up by their husbands. As I stepped into the dark hallway, the lights flickered, and behind me, I suddenly heard a voice. "Want to play with me, honey?" Why did I hear Zhang Ziyan's voice? Maybe it was just a hallucination. It must have been a trick of the light or something. But the next second, I felt myself being lifted up around the waist, spinning wildly, and my back slammed against the cold tabletop. The decorations on the table clattered onto the floor. And I was so scared by his sudden move that I blurted out, "Are you okay? You're reacting weird. Go more often. Touch more guys. Stay out longer," he said casually, and his hand immediately moved closer to me. I was furious. My anger boiled over, and I slapped him hard across the face. Finally, I understood why I'd always felt so powerless around him. Zhang Ziyan kept asking for more and more, and I just kept giving in. He dominated me, controlled me, and instead of helping, he only made things worse. Counting down, he whispered, biting my earlobe, his voice full of desire. This is only the second time. Before I could fully wake up, I heard a few words during the transition. "Is that enough? Stop going there? Please, stop. I'm still feeling sore from yesterday, like I'd been hit by a truck." Finally, there's some relief. The screen went black after 6 hours. My ears are ringing from all the shouting. I'm so pissed off, forget about letting me see it. Even listening to it is out of the question. Maybe LS expression was priceless. Just looking at her made me laugh hysterically. Nearly 7 hours have passed, and Zhang Ziyan still hasn't come back. Every day I'm forced to drink bitter Chinese medicine, dragged around to mop floors, wash dishes, and weed the garden, and my phone gets limited to 4 hours of usage per day. And even those 4 hours, half of them are spent messaging Zhang Ziyan, begging him to give me a break, hoping that someday he'll finally realize how much I mean to him. I'm so fed up with his violent behavior. After yelling at him for 10 minutes straight, he didn't even bother to respond. Maybao was absolutely furious. Zhang Ziyan's reaction was even worse than being ghosted online. She took a deep breath and decided to change her approach. "Zhang Ziyan, let me out of here, will you? I promise I'll never look at another man again. Even if I have to become a boring old lady, I'll do it. I'm so angry. I'm grinding my teeth. If you won't give me any respect, I'll just go find someone else." To this time, Zhang Ziyan's response would be serious. North China, this tactic really worked. No one dared to let their wives order green tea for them anymore. On top of that, he might actually come home tonight. The reason he has returned yet is definitely because of the wedding night. He argued with Zhu Ran, and I gave him the new gift Shed sent me. After putting on that black silk lingerie set, I stood in front of the mirror, staring at myself. I asked myself, what's the difference between wearing this and not wearing anything at all? I picked up my phone and quickly snapped a photo, then opened Zhang Ziyan's chat window and sent him a message directly. "Long time no see, miss me?" After hitting send, I waited for over 10 seconds, then quickly pulled the message back. Oops, I sent it to the wrong person. 20 minutes later, I was so furious that I threw my phone across the room. Zhang Ziyan is probably already in bed with Xi Guang by now, and here I am, still waiting for some news. I picked up my phone again, scrolled through over 30 videos of male models, and ended up falling asleep without realizing how long I'd been watching. I felt like something heavy had dropped onto my chest. 2 episodes. Hot, hot. My phone slid down onto the bed, and I was sweating profusely. One Wu Gang was just about to get up and go back to work, but the classroom was already soaked with sweat and heat. I glanced at Jikong. As soon as I opened my eyes, I saw Zhang Ziyan lying on the bed, trembling and running around aimlessly. His body was limp, almost weightless like a ghost searching for something. He was pressed against my chest, yet his movements were so feeble that he barely stirred. Wasn't Zhang Ziyan precisely the kind of person who'd hate to see anyone, even me, suffering this way? Suddenly, a sharp cry echoed through the room. Zhang Ziyan? The expression on his face remained calm, unchanging, as if frozen in time. All I could do was reach out and gently lift his face. Only then did he slowly open his eyes. Tears welled up in them, and he stared at me with an unreadable mix of pain and resignation. Lying here like this, are you really letting him get away with this? Is he having another episode? Oh, come on, someone said. Have you all forgotten? Zhang Ziyan suffers from severe depression and anxiety, plus post-traumatic stress disorder. When I first noticed it, not long after Grandma passed away, HED already been diagnosed. HED even attempted suicide once, but thankfully, my sister found him just in time. I felt a chill run down my spine. It seemed like Zhang Ziyan's condition had started to flare up again recently. But this time, it felt different from the last episode. How could I have missed it? After spending so much time with him, after everything we'd been through together. Oh, Moon. 49 days after Zhang Ziyan's death. Was it precisely this moment that HED been waiting for? The pain in my heart was unbearable, as if a knife had just been plunged into it. Zhang Ziyan spoke in a low, hollow voice, saying, "Ziyu, why don't you turn around and take a good look at him?" His words hit me like a blow. I raised both hands, trembling. "You want to see how deeply I care about you? I'd give anything for it. What'd given him so much love and support, yet he still didn't want me.